I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody would please silence their phone, we'll have our invocation by Reverend Frank Oakman.
Bow your heads and pray with me. Dear wise and loving God, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing the appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so from the boundless and gracious nature. I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular this assembled council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amidst the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives, and joy in their task. I pray for the agenda set before them this afternoon. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work and around our beloved city of Connersville and Fayette County. It is in your blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Frank. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Jim Barrett.
Here.
Tim Bentley.
Here.
Jerry Irvin.
Here.
Annette Reedman.
Here.
Okay, we have enough for a quorum. You have the minutes of the meeting of December 3rd. Is there any additions or corrections?
I make a motion that we pass the minutes as well.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass the meeting as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Okay, going down to opening business, opening of the fuel bids. How many we get, 3?
This is, one's for utilities and one's for
Yeah, I'll let you open them. This one here's from Harvest Land.
that's, that is utilities and it's city.
Hey, Brad and Troy, would you guys go look at these and we'll pass them here to, or we gotta wait till the next meeting? No. Would you guys go look at these and pick out the best ones, cause.
Thank you.
Okay, while they're looking at that, we'll go on down to the Kmart property. Shirley here. Oh, there you are. Didn't see you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Shirley.
Thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you today about the Kmart property, something you may have already heard me speak about in the last couple of weeks, because the county commissioners and the county council were kind enough to listen to my spiel a couple weeks ago. But I think each of you got in your packet a picture, or actually a packet with the Kmart property on the front of it. And so that's what I'm here to ask you about, this 93,000 square foot property. In the first page, it talks a little bit about it, the history, and Dan Parker is here as well to say that I've been bugging him regularly for the last several years about this property. And it's good to see Jim Barrett here as well. And Mayor, I think a couple of years ago, Jim Barrett and myself and Connie Risch Durham got appointed to a committee to help bring back business and industry and refresh things that were going on in the downtown and in the community. And Jim will tell you that we went on many visits to multiple properties, and I don't have a specific report on that, but he could probably tell you that the biggest one is right across the street. The beautiful wholesale warehouse that was one of the first ones we looked at, that if you just go and find the right people that want to come and build a business, like these gentlemen right here, in our fair city and community and county, that it won't take long and we'll eventually fill all of those properties back up with tax-paying people. But I digress. I digress. Get back here. A couple months ago in October, I was visiting the city on some kind of business, and I always stop over to see Dan and see how things are going. And I asked him about how things were going with the Kmart and the Fair Board, and that had anything happened. And he lit a fire under me that hasn't stopped, and I don't want it to stop either. Until it's 5 years down the road and this project is successful, I don't want to stop that fire. He indicated that no, they hadn't come to an agreement. One of the biggest problems was the storm water and the utilities bill, the $1,500 a month, and I think he even wrote it on his whiteboard in his office, and that was insurmountable for the Fair Board, but that I said, well, you know, there's got to be something else that can be done, and that I would go back and talk again to the Fayette County Free Fair Board. And so I started, at that point in time, I contacted Ted McQuinley, and I visited the Fair Board on several of their meetings, and shared some of my visions with what could go on. They already knew what they wanted and how they could use the property surrounding it. But the big 93,000 square foot building scared them. And even if, like, heaven forbid, some people talk about tearing down that building, even if that were to happen, you know, they could not pay the stormwater and storm separation charges. And I even contacted Brad Coulter at the utilities office and asked him how, you know, we could, I guess part of the question was, does it really go to the sanitary sewer up there, or does it go to the river? Does it go to the storm sewer? What could we do to reduce those charges so that the Fair Board could accept the property? Because the owners would donate to a not-for-profit, that building. But we'd have to do something about the stormwater. And Brad went on to tell me that even if we put a retention pond in and dug up part of the pavement and did all the things that we could to legally reduce the stormwater bill, it was still going to cost about $750 a month, no matter what, because somebody had to pay for the storm sewer separation from the sanitary sewer. And at least that was my take on the conversation. So on and on. After a couple of months and visits to the Kmart property with the Fair Board, they just, you know, came to the conclusion that that was more than what they could take on. And so I began to look for someone else to help accept that property. And bottom line, I had a meeting Friday with Anna Dungan and the Fayette County Foundation. And I'm hoping that they might be the right not-for-profit to accept that property so that it could be turned into a community recreation center, something that I think I wrote it down fancy, with recreational facilities and the space for non-traditional education that can be fostered in and around the building. I'm asking you to imagine ag science, drone technology for field scouting. You know, this is the Fair Board we're talking about. And the Fair Board gives us a free fair every year. It's one of the most long-standing free fairs and free entertainment for a week. How about a showcase for alternative energy, alternative fuels? I'm not here asking about another government-owned property. It's not my intention that the government of Fayette County or Connersville should ever own this property. Instead, it could be set up as some kind of a trust or recreation center. I'm looking for a public-private partnership something that could come in and pay the bills, but would allow a community center to go on, similar to like the Golay Center. You know, perhaps a family like the Golay family would step forward in this community with a plan to not only donate the facility, but to fund for its maintenance for who knows how long. I think for over 30 years, forward-looking people have donated to the Fayette County Foundation. And look what that small group has accomplished. And in the paper, I certainly enjoy reading the paper these days. It's not all good news. There's still some bad news in the paper, but at least it's pleasant and there's a lot of good things to report. The Lilly Foundation making available $500,000 for this community, and especially if we could get like-kind donations maybe for the impact. That was the Thumbs Up article in the paper yesterday. So can you imagine turning a $50 donation into $150? What if somebody were to turn in a donation of the Kmart property? Do you think that would bring in $500,000 to this community? I'm hoping that it can. Anna is going to take the proposal to her board this week. So that's what the latest is on that. For those that are saying the best thing to do is tear it down, and a lot of people have given their best advice, what they think is to tear it down, but that is a good building. There are a lot of columns in there and a lot of concrete. And when you have a good, solid building, then it's easy to clean up the mold. There is no trichloroethylene contamination in that building or that property. There is no asbestos contamination in that property. That report has already been done. People who make money go in and clean out the mold, and people can donate funds to help put a new roof on. And I think the best people to help pay for the new roof are the ones that can put solar panels on that roof, and then they can benefit from the solar energy and give free electric to the people inside the building using it. And I'm just asking each and every one of you sitting here to think differently, to think of all the reasons why we can make this happen, not all the reasons why it's going to be a burden on the taxpayers. It's not my intention for this building to be a burden on anyone. It's my intention to use this building to help get off of all of the lists that Fayette County is on. You know, I was so frustrated when we were 91st in the state for health. Now we're 92nd. We went the wrong way. We're usually first in unemployment. I'm going to point to another example right across the street. We have a young family who has just moved back in town. These are kids that grew up in Fayette County. The Roberts family. Mrs. Roberts, Tara, the daughter of Denham, the principal of our junior high, and I worked with Wayne for her dad, and Dr. Roberts, my neighbor. They've come back to Fayette County and invested money on Main Street, no less. We need more of that. My granddaughter just started today at Fayette Regional Hospital. Now, prayers for that hospital. We need to do everything we can to save that hospital. But she just came back as a graduate, a 4-year degree in radiology, and has a job. I hope that hospital is going to be there for the next 100 years. And I get him off the subject again. Okay. The $37,000 annual tax receipts that we're getting. And I just spoke to Kathy across the road. If they tear down the building, which the owner has threatened to do, and Dan keeps convincing them to give us more time, it'll still cost $26,676 for the taxes. So he'd only save about $10,000 annual property taxes. However, if we took some of those backhoes that the Fair Board has and tear up that pavement, I bet that we could reduce it a lot more. And if I were to take possession of that, you know, or have to be paying the bills, that's what I would have done a long time ago. How long has that property been vacant? 10 years? And so that some suggestions that say, tear down the building and let the EDG find somebody to put another building on it. How long has it been vacant, Dan?
I couldn't give you.
A long time. Too long.
I think it's in the literature, I think.
I want to put some
I
aggravated.
got this watch here when they went out of business.
Is my time
Yeah,
up?
no, I got this watch there. I got this watch for $2.47 from Kmart. So
I
how
thought you
long
were
I've
telling-
had this watch?
Still taking.
It's still ticking too.
I thought you were telling me my time was up.
Oh,
Listen,
no.
I'm going to end my presentation. I want to thank Troy Tipton and for inviting the Deputy Fire Marshal for the state and Bill McDaniel. I want to thank both of them, and also Dan Parker for taking me up there and doing a tour, and we need to do more of a tour, and for giving their best honest appraisal of what they think. But again, I want everybody to think of all the good things that go on in that building and the other things that can happen if we were to be so fortunate to get that property. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm doing my best to convince the gentleman to give it to a not-for-profit, and I'm hoping that that will be the Fayette County Foundation. And then we can let the wonderful people in this community do their best to make it shine. I think that it can be a nice pillar, you know, like the Miller Center in the park. Just think of a named building on the other end for the county, and that we can all point out with pride what goes on in that building instead of, you know, an empty property. Could I answer any questions for anyone?
You got
I don't
anything?
have any questions, like you dumped a lot on me, but thank you for your presentation. Thank you for all of your hard work.
Well, thank you. I
Keep it
am
up.
motivated. I think it's just got some wonderful potential, and I think we all need to get behind it and see what we can do to make it happen.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, go on down, Wazetta contract. Dan?
Before I begin, I just wanted to compliment Shirley on all the hard work that she's done with certainly a worthy goal to save the building. We've had many people inspect the building and tour it over the almost 5 years that I've been doing this economic development job. And we do have some that are still very interested. We do have a developer from Indianapolis that would like to take that property and develop it with housing, different types of housing, and some retail along the frontage. And so he has been watching and listening and being kept abreast of what's going on concerning which way the building's going to go from an ownership standpoint. I do know that like the Fair Board, the EDG board passed on it over a year ago, I believe, and it was for the same reasons the Fair Board had, because of the stormwater and upkeep, and on top of that, we already had a very large building, and we felt as though we did need one more. But I believe Shirley's got a plan of action that if a nonprofit will come in behind her and help her with the expenses, that it could be converted to something very nice for our community. Either way, I would love to see this property commercialized in some respect, some way, whether it's a youth center, a community center, or an apartments. Concerning Wayzata, as many of you know, the agreement with the city is quickly coming due. Wayzata has come to the city and asked for an extension With me today are Andy John, Ben Houston, and Dan Savage, the plant manager. And Ben, I forget your position.
Business manager.
Business manager, and Andy is the owner of Wayzata. The length of time that, I want to get some clarification here before we go any further. The length of time of the extension that you're asking for is,
April 1st, 2021. So 27 months extension.
27 months. We had earlier, I think, been talking about 24. He's asking for 3 additional months to 27 months. I want to get that out in the open at the very beginning. We've had several discussions with representatives from each of the 3 boards that were involved in the very initial talks that brought Andy and Wayzata to Connersville. And by the way, we're thankful that you're here, and we appreciate the jobs that you've created and the commerce that you put into our community. And I'm sure this board echoes the same sentiments. We definitely appreciate you being here. Those 3 boards were representatives that were selected and heard discussions, saw business plan for the future, which we've agreed to keep most of that private because it does have a privileged information that you do not want your competitors to see. But according to the forecast that was given in the presentation that we saw about a week ago, it indicated that you would be over the 309 on that graph by 2020, and you're asking for, it sounds like 4 additional months. Three additional months. So that'd be the last of March. So I'm sure there's questions, and that's why we have these 3 gentlemen here today to field any questions that you might have concerning this request for an extension on the agreement the city made back in 2013.
And I do thank you guys for coming today, because I don't know if anybody's got any questions for him? Okay.
What happened when we had the meeting was 2 years. What happened that we now jumped to 27 months?
Andy, why don't you field this question?
Yes, Jim. Usually in our industry, is the beginning of the year is where we actually grow. So the employment increase at the beginning of the year. So when we first started was March of 2014, even though we actually acquired the building, but it took us 6 months to renovate the facility. So roughly we have a little over 4 years. Probably by end of March, we'll probably have up to about 5 years of operating, history. So we're asking, 2 more years with additional 3 months. I think that with additional 3 months, definitely we're very confident we'll be over that employment. So company, since we came over here, we have grew 3 times. Even though some of the information is proprietary, we really don't want to share some of, whereas the company actually being watched by our competitor industry closely. We have come here, we grow the business 3 times. Our employment has gone up about 3 times, even though we were hoping it could grow a little faster. But the remodeling industry, the buying cycle a little longer, it ended up it will take us a little longer. But our expectation, our forecast is grow double again within the next 27 months. So our employment will actually continue to double. We put tremendous work and resources into growing this business. So this is not a business just maintaining it. So we're very excited. We're really enjoying being in this community, and look for your support to grow the business with us. Even though we're still very much a small business, if you were to be located in a big metro, we're probably not as relevant. But to be honest with you, I'm very excited to be in a community like this, because of whatever we do, it'd be very, very valuable, impactful, to the community. So we're very committed, and so that's what we're asking for your support.
Okay, thank you, Andy.
Another question. I mean, I guess I'm in favor of granting a request for an extension, but I think we need some stipulations on that extension. One of them is the stormwater, where they're receiving the half the rate. That's starting January 1st of 2019, they go to the full rate, because that was in the initial agreement. And the other thing would like to see is, like, we're agreeing to this for an extension for 27 months. I think the city and the city council should be a report turned in to them at least once a year as to where we're at on the employment, and also the retention rate of these people, how long they've been there, the longevity. That's what I'm really looking at.
Okay, you guys, would you have any problem with that?
No, yeah, we're in agreement.
Okay, so,
You want me to make that in form of motion?
you
I
have to
want
make,
this,
wait a minute.
I just want to say, you guys took an over empty building, made something out of it. Your hard employees and money that they make, they regenerate it in the public, so, that's all I got to say.
Well, usually I'm going to ask for a voice vote, so go ahead and let's take it individual.
You need a motion.
A motion to the fact that we're going to approve the 27 months, I think that's what it was, of the agreement, with a stipulation that the full rate for stormwater will take effect January the 1st of 2019. Also, that they will generate a yearly report from December to next December. They'll generate a report to this Board of Works and to City Council as to where they're at on employment and what their retention rate is and how long, the longevity of their employees. That's my motion.
Second.
Yeah, motion is second. Is there any more discussion? If not, we'll take a voice vote.
Jerry Irvin,
Yes.
Annette Reedman,
Yes.
Jim Barrett,
Yes.
Tim Bentley.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much.
I will
Thank you
ask,
very much.
I will ask one other thing. I know you asked for that report the next 2 years. Is that something the board could get from the past 5 years too?
We have it.
Okay.
We already
I'd
have
like to look at that. I mean, I
Jim
echo.
asked for that the other night, and we've got that.
Okay, great, great.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Andy, Ben, Dan.
Thank you, Board of Works.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. Let's go ahead and do the interlocal agreement with IT with the county. Have you read the agreement, David?
Yes, I have, yes.
It's okay with you?
Yeah, I have everything looks in order to me.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve the interlock agreement with the county.
Second?
Do we have a motion and a second? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Now we got another interlocal agreement with the county. David, you review this one?
Yes, sir, I have. It's very similar to the first one, and everything appears to be in order.
This is for the grant administrator. Diana?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. Now we'll go on down to resolutions 2018-54.
You want to go ahead and go over the fuel bids?
If you want to. I was gonna say down here, but that's all right. Okay, Troy, what'd you find? All right, Brad?
It looked like everything was in order. I just had a question for Rosemary. Is there no bond on the gasoline bids?
I don't
They
think we
didn't.
have.
They didn't include checks.
Um,
It looked like it called for it, but I didn't know if there was something else that superseded that, so. That would,
I don't think we've ever had a bond payment.
that would be a
for
big
the-
check, I would imagine, so. I just wanted to bring it up in case. But the chemical one has a bond check with it, so.
So we just received one chemical bid and one
There was
fuel
no
bid.
competition for any either.
Okay.
Yep.
chlorine and stuff. Okay, so the fuel bid's only from Harvest Land then? That's all we got?
Right.
Okay, it's the only bid we received. What's the board's?
Motion to approve for Harvest Land for fuel.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Harvest Land will be our fuel. And so, as far as the
Chemicals.
chemicals, need a motion to approve?
Has that?
Who was it?
Brentag?
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve Brentag for chemicals.
Second.
You have a motion and a second for Brentag for the chemicals, for the wastewater plant, water plant. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Passed. Okay. Now we're going down to resolutions 2018-54 to 2018-83. Rosemary?
These are just transfers, cleaning up the appropriations through the end of the year.
I make a motion, we approve resolution 2018-54 all the way through to 2018-83.
Second?
Yeah, a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Make sure you stay around, we got a lot of paper to sign. Okay, going down to the utility department, Mike?
Just a couple items. We had retirement. Our vehicle mechanic, Mark Lippincott, retired. His last day of work was December 6th. He's been employed with utilities for 29 years. Been a good employee. I like to thank him personally. The last 4 years, he's helped me a lot, especially with the back truck and the water and sewer vehicles, getting those spec'd out. But I'd just like to thank him for his service to Carnesville and wish him happiness and health in his retirement. And I'd like to get your approval to hire another vehicle mechanic.
I'll move.
Second. Do you need a question? Do you need a motion on this retirement?
Do we?
I make a motion to approve
We
this
can, for-
Lipcock retirement, just to be on the safe side.
Second.
Okay, we have an approval to approve Mark Lippincott
Retirement.
retirement. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
We have a city employee from the street department who would like to be moved to utilities. As long as I got approval to hire another vehicle mechanic, do I have permission to hire a vehicle mechanic, I guess?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to hire vehicle mechanic for the utilities.
We've talked to the street department, everybody's good with it, but it's Chris Lucas of the street department. He's been there for about 8 years. He assisted Phil when he was the head mechanic at the street department. All of his reference turned out good. I am familiar with his work because he was the mechanic when I was running the park. So I think he would be a good fit. We want his first day to be December the 28th.
Okay. Already got a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
All right, that's all I have.
all right.
Thanks.
Okay, Carol? You still sure, huh?
Would you like to turn back now? Look how good his daughter's being.
Yeah, if his dad and mom wasn't here, it'd be different.
All right, with Lieutenant McQuarrie's promotion to captain, leaves a lieutenant's spot open. That come out right. Lieutenant McQuarrie moved to captain, so we have a lieutenant spot open. I'm requesting Sergeant Kevin Perry's promotion to lieutenant. Kevin's been on the department for 8 years. He serves as a K-9 officer. He has served as chief at Union City prior to his employment at Connersville PD. He's also a member of the SWAT team. I believe he's an asset to the patrol division and will serve the department well as a lieutenant.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to promote Kevin Perry from sergeant to lieutenant. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Congratulations.
Same pay, right?
It's a little different.
Yeah. Okay, Carol.
All right, we have two other things on the agenda.
after a review, and we actually have been doing kind of an ongoing review of our traffic lights this year with Rosemary and Derek Davis. Derek Davis is part-time for our takes care of our traffic lights. The first issue that he has suggested is the flasher at 21st Street needs repaired, and he would suggest that we remove it with your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. One of the things, I had a neighbor from over in that area said that sometimes people pull up or they think it's a four-way stop. So they'll pull up there thinking that we're gonna stop, then go on. So it's probably a good idea to go ahead and remove it, so,
I see that happen some too.
okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that one, go ahead. Next one, Carol.
Again, with the ongoing review of our traffic lights, also suggested that we remove at least one downtown light between 5th and 8th, and I'm asking that we remove 7th and Central, but turn it to a flasher first for a few weeks prior to removal.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You got anything else, Carol?
I think that is all we have.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Troy?
You want people to still stop at it even when it's
I'd like to read a letter from Kristen Harmon. Says that I've applied for disability retirement pension as I'm no longer able to work for the Connersville Fire Department. Thank you for your many years allowing me to serve this community. Signed and dated December 5th.
So do we have to accept this?
Yeah, you have to vote on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to accept the Harmon retirement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passed. And John, thank you, thank you for serving all these years and hope retirement's good for you. So have a good retirement.
Also, I'd like to tell you what's going on. Me and Chris Gettinger and Zach Shank, Chris is my battalion chief, Zach's a first class. We went back down and picked up the fire truck that we had purchased, and we immediately had to put it into service because we had a truck that was having trouble. And since then, we've got the truck back and we put it, the city garage is doing some little things to it as far as getting it ready for us. Worked out really well. City council also agreed to let us look at purchasing another truck next year. We was looking at a new truck, and what we decided to do, we feel so comfortable with this truck, was to look at another truck from Brindley Mountain Fire Apparatus. Whitestown, the city of Whitestown, decided to trade an engine in 2011 and go to an aerial truck. So we went to Alabama over the weekend and looked at that. And also there was a rescue down there that we really liked. So we looked at the rescue and this pumper from Whitestown. Our Rescue 21 is overloaded by about 2,000 pounds, so we wanted a little bit heavier truck. And this rescue has water on it also, which we don't have on Rescue 21. It's 2008 and has 11,000 miles, so it's a very nice truck. So we was able to make a deal, if we can talk to the council tonight, and it would save us about over 100,000 on purchasing used, and we'd be upgrading 2 trucks instead of 1. So that's what we're going to recommend, and ask that you understand where we're at with it.
Rosemary, do you have a problem with this or anything?
They are also basing this on financing it in the arrears, because our last payment on the truck will be in next year, and then that way the payments will just continue into 20.
Save us money that way.
So basically what you're saying is this truck you want to purchase would take the place of 2 vehicles?
Well, we would be trading Rescue 21 in and purchasing 2 trucks.
Okay. So you're going to purchase another rescue truck and a fire truck?
And since Rescue is a 2002 model, this Rescue is only a 2008, but it's very low miles and it's a heavy rescue with water. so it'd upgrade us, help us with our ISO on water. It just makes us a better truck. Rescue 21, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the back of it. When they added the bed on, they had to put a box for the Stokes basket. It misses the door by about an inch, so if you get any kind of, it's angled over Station 4, you get any snow or anything, we've hit the door like 3 times since I've been chief. So this truck is actually a foot and an inch shorter. So it's actually it's a better truck for what we're trying to do. Plus we'd be carrying water and foam on it. So we're upgrading two trucks. The engine that we're looking at from Whitestown actually is got options that we wouldn't be able to afford if we purchased a new truck. It's actually able to pump and roll, which is something that's real good. If being with the airport we have, and if we have to have a field fire or a ditch fire, you can actually roll down the road and pump water off of it. We don't have that capacity right now. So
This rescue here been used a lot, because every day probably goes out numerous times, so they wear out pretty quick. I know from experience, you gotta have good equipment. If you don't have good equipment, it doesn't help.
the rescue truck that they're looking at, it's out of Pennsylvania. The chief, and I talked to the fireman there, it fought one fire. They use it as a quick attack truck. It has 80 hours on a diesel pump that sits in the back of the bed. I can show you pictures of them, I didn't bring them, but it's a very nice outfit, but they just decided that it was more truck than what they needed for what they have. Their community's only 2,000 people, and they wasn't using the truck, so they went a different way.
So
It's
you
very
need to-
similar to Glenwood's Cascade truck. It's a four-wheel drive truck, but it's a big truck, a lot bigger truck.
Do you need our approval to proceed to city council?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the request to city council tonight. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Troy, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any old business to come for the council? Oh, yeah, come on up. Your old business.
What I wanted to present to you was that over the last summer, when we've wrecked the ambulance, we have been working at trying to get a new one spec'd out. We got it spec'd, we've got the insurance payments back in now, and I'm asking permission to go ahead and replace that truck before the end of the year. And we've got a bid from Fire Service to replace it at $102,663. And at the end of the month, this price is good until December 28th. After that, it'll go up about $7,400 or $7,500.
Okay, Rosemary, what do you think?
We currently have 156,000 in the non-reverting, and so it'll take 4 months for them to deliver the new ambulance. So we should have enough money in there to pay
Okay.
Now, you're saying 102,000 plus for the truck?
182.
Or 82? And now, do we have to add any additional expense after you receive?
No, shouldn't. The only thing we might have to do, and it's supposed to be figured in, is the radio to put in it. If that is, it's about a $1,800, $2,000 radio, but that should be about it.
That's
Everything
full
else we
size.
have. Pardon me?
Full size ambulance.
Yes.
Not cut
It's
down.
identical to the last one we got. It'd be a twin to that truck.
Okay.
Motion to approve his request.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any miscellaneous business to come before the board?
And, give you a report on my 2 part-time other day jobs. I laid a copy of the ADA goals and accomplishments, and that is something that we have to fill out each year. So if you have any questions about that. Also, I wanted to tell you on this is for the Historic Preservation Commission. There's going to be a public meeting on Wednesday, December 19th at 6 p.m. at Trinity Episcopal Church to talk about the historic district and the implementation of a We have a National Historic Registry district, but it is largely symbolic. Once I got digging into it, I found out it didn't really give us any authority or the opportunity to get people to negotiate or work with us on projects that they do. So this historic district would be called the Connersville Downtown Local Historic District. And before you can implement that, we have to have a public meeting. And this is going to be this Wednesday. And if any of you can or want to come, it'd be great. And hopefully all of the, I sent you an email that was a copy of the invite that was sent to all the people that own property in the district. And all those people have been invited to come and have any questions answered.
You might want to mention something about people, please sending their surveys in.
Right.
Yeah.
So each person, as part of that packet that I sent you, was sent a survey to either designate their opposition or their agreement with the district. So far, we've got very few of those returned, and most of the ones we've got returned have been negative. So hopefully this meeting will get us a little bit further down the road to answering people's questions. And if any of you can show up, that would be great.
Thank you. Okay, going down the claims, including the payroll.
All right, for the total for the city was $403,206.47. Utilities had a total of $212,356.95. We need a motion to approve these.
So moved.
You have a motion second to approve the claims and the payroll. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Going down the public forum. Anybody like to say anything? Okay, if not, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Oh, and do one thing, I do want to wish, this will be our last meeting of this year, so I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And just thank you very much for, okay, need a motion to adjourn?
All right.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Adjourned.